see my screen, right? Everyone? The presentation. Guys, you could see my screen.
No,
You can see it now.
yeah, now it's there.
So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to look at a few more projects for the rainwater harvesting aspect that we've been talking about. And I understand that Kinaya has already shown you this project earlier. So we'll just quickly run through the main aspects and the water details of this project. So these are seen, and I think Kinaya materials and how, etc. So I'm going to that a little bit and go towards the ground plan. So as you already know, this site is actually located, this project is a healthcare center. It's a small kind of a medical center in Dharmapuri, which is in Tamil Nadu. It's um, uh, quite a climatic, very hot climatic condition also. And what you see on the ground plan is basically this one entrance ramp that's taking you up. To the left is your water feature, which is going to be the collection pond. There is a little bit of a landscaped area behind that, which is kind of a stepped terrain that has been created. And centrally located is your kind of is your building, which then is enveloped by a skin which is made of the thatch mats, etc. So I think what we are and to the right is your water tank. So what we are looking at is just trying to understand how this entire thing actually works with reference to your building and how the water system comes together. Basically, what the whole central spout or the water element that's running through the roof, which is holding the roof eventually together, is kind of becoming a spine in the center. So you have a larger water body here, and you have the water tank to the right. So what happens essentially is that there is a ridge somewhere in the middle. Okay, so half the water is then kind of sloped towards your water feature, which is
Swati, just be louder
I have to be louder
because
than.
yeah, because there's a background disturbance. You're in the computer lab, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I?
Ah.
Is it better now?
Yeah, I think so. Aradhya, are you okay with it?
Yeah, no, actually, her voice is muffled because of that background disturbance. So that is why she was not very clear while she was speaking.
But now it's better, right?
Yeah,
Now it's better.
yeah, it's better now.
Okay, okay, cool. So, yeah, so you have your water feature to the left, and then you have your water tank to the right. There is a certain ridge in the middle that will kind of slope your water half to the front and half to the back. So essentially, when you receive rainwater, half of it is then kind of running off to your water pond that is in the front of the building, and the rest goes to the rainwater harvesting tank, which is in the kind of tank vertical format that has been designed. Okay, I'll just show you the. Yeah, so that's your tank, which is vertically stacked. Somewhere at this level is where the inlet for the rainwater harvesting tank is, which will kind of go there, and you'll hold that water for a while, as long as you need it. And that can be eventually used for your landscaping and other kind of purposes. Um, so I know this image is not the clearest image, but this is what is kind of available. So essentially, to understand how this entire system works, basically after your kind of spine has taken half the water to the tank in the front, to the pond in the front, and then half to the tank at the back. The overflow of both these are connected to a recharge pit. Okay, so this water, when it overflows, it will go into a recharge pit here. So again, you're kind of recharging the groundwater in a very arid situation where the water in the groundwater is less. The soil doesn't have much of the water already. Again, whatever overflow is there at your rainwater harvesting tank here, that will kind of run into your recharge pit again. And that's how you kind of recharge your groundwater in this area. What's happening to the toilets is that they are then connected to a septic tank to the back, and that's where it's getting treated and then eventually dispersed into the ground. Um, so now this is a section that, the same thing that we're talking about, basically half of it going to the front and half of it going to the back in this connection that's going into this tank, which then overflows into the recharge pit and eventually gets used in that manner. If you notice carefully, this tank that you have as, the pond that is the water feature in the front, that's actually a closed bottom tank, essentially to make sure that the water doesn't kind of precipitate and doesn't go into the ground, um, uh, and it's held for a longer time because essentially that's a feature. And whatever the overflow may be, in terms of an excess rainfall condition, that would be taken to the recharge pit so that you can kind of take it into the groundwater recharge. Um, so are there any questions on or discussion that you would like to have on this project? Should we move to the next one?
So, Auntie, can you zoom into the details? Like, can you zoom into the section and show them? Because
The image is not a good image that's there. But I can just run through it with my cursor if that's it's visible now. My cursor.
yeah, your
Yeah.
cursor is visible.
Yeah. So okay, I'll just show you some of the. So this was one of the interesting images of the on construction situation where the spout is actually sloped entirely to allow for the water to run off quickly into this water feature. So in this area that you see, the same thing is happening in the section which is shown. I'll show you through this section. I think it will be better. Basically, this is sloping towards the water feature, and then that back here is connected into the rainwater harvesting tank. So that's what's happening in this very non-clear image. So half of it is then kind of in the front, and then the rest of it is sloping towards the back. The connection is at this level, so that there is an inlet to the rainwater harvesting tank. Is that clear, or
Yeah.
should we move to the next one, Kimaya, or is there anything that you would like to add?
No, I think you've covered it up. We can go to the next one.
Kimaya, I had a doubt.
Yes, follow.
Uh, yeah, so I was using the similar system for my project. So
Hmm.
the water feature towards the left, that is the pond. So
Hmm.
at what height should the overflow pipe be in the pond? So if the depth of the pond is 60 centimeter, so that should be calculated by the amount of rainfall in that area. But is there any like calculation that decides the level of the overflow pipe?
No, there is no such calculation to decide the level of the overflow pipe, but as you see in this image, it's right at the top of the
Hmm.
rim. So the rim that you want as a clear rim, like for example, in the inner circle that you see, it's the depression. Okay,
Yeah.
when I say depression, it's the slant that yeah, where the cursor is, that's the lowest point, and then there
Hmm.
is a highest point. So it's more like an inbuilt kind of a overflow that they have created. So as soon as the water reaches this lowest point of the rim, from there, any excess water is going to then overflow into the next ring. Okay, now in that ring also, if you see, there is a cutout there in the circle on the left hand
Yeah.
side. That is another overflow pipe. So the moment there is a certain water that is trickling, there will be other water also that must be trickling in. Only in the monsoon it will happen that the whole pipe will have water trickling it out. But
Yeah.
otherwise, in other seasons, it's going to be a little of water that will be. It's more like a stream that runs across.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
welcome.
So moving on to
Just to add
yeah.
to that, sorry, Swati. Just to add to that, what happens is that another thing, see, is also in terms of aesthetically. Sometimes you want to have that feel of the infinity pool, right? Where the water is right at the topmost rim of the built form, so that you feel there is a seamless line of water. Then that edge is not seen. It's no more seen as a trough. So
Yeah.
depending on what you want in terms of the aesthetic appearance of that system is something you can decide your overflow pipe onto. ठीक है?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, continue, sir.
Um, so we're just looking at another project which also has an interesting water story, and that largely is the intent of the project. Um, um, and then the rest of it, in terms of the architectural intervention, is also kind of woven around the same idea of water and experience in the building. Again, this is a project which is based in Nandyal, so it's in Andhra Pradesh. It has an extreme climate. I mean, the heat that they experience is extreme again. So it's also done from the point of view of trying to keep the entire space um, um, but also because it's a place of worship, there is that kind of connection with the water that has been integrated. So as it says that this kind of replicates this whole idea of a temple in South India, and then the whole idea of a stepwell or the Pushkarni tank, and something that we had seen even in Hampi where the stepwell is called Pushkarni tank, the water tank. So basically, what what's happening is that there was a canal system that was already present in this area, which was then running dry because of this extreme kind of climate. So basically, the all your chili farms, etc., were not getting water through this canal system anymore. But essentially, the canal system was built for that, right? So now, what was happening is that this kind of intervention then tried to look at regeneration of the groundwater again, and the water from the quarries was then kind of taken in here. The overflow from the quarries was channeled here, and this water then kind of allows for the groundwater seepage to happen here, and then regenerate that entire. Yeah, so basically you have a kund in the front and you have a kund in the back, and this water is kind of seeping into the ground. So they are recharging the groundwater through this project, and then the rest of it is kind of stepping up, and you have your temple formation in the same manner. So essentially, what they're trying to do is that they section of the ghat itself. And as we all know it, the ghats were also built to kind of have this connection with water for easy access. And then the water was used for multiple kind of reasons. Also, importantly, because the shrines were placed along these areas, the connection between the water and the shrine was also something that was eventually pronounced through this building of the ghats. So it's the same idea that has been kind of taken into this project, and the same thing has been scaled down and been applied as an experience. So also holding the water on all four sides kind of reduces the temperature within the temple itself, and keeps the shrine area cool. So these are a few details that you see. So these are, basically how your junction between the step and the water will happen. Whether this is kind of, one would either do it in some kind of brick material, or one could do it in a concrete material, but that is left to the construction aspect of it. But these were done in stone, essentially, in black stone. Um, um, and then the same material is kind of stepped up to create your temple shrine itself also. Um, yeah, that's the walkway, and that's supported with a member at the bottom. Um, see the summer. See, the water level basically can rise and fall. Like so, coming back to where the overflow would be connected again, that how much you can hold it up to, whatever your level of holding the water will be. So if I do not want the water to exceed this limit, then that's where the overflow level will be. So that is something that we need to decide, you know. So beyond this, if it's going to kind of come and flood my side, that's probably that where you will probably also cut it off. Also from the aesthetic point of view, like Maya said, you know, at what level do you want to kind of hold the water up to? What kind of an experience are you creating? That will allow you to decide where you want to kind of have your overflow level. Kimara, would you like to add anything here? That you see from all sides.
Basically, I wanted them to then look at the scale. You know, here the scale matters a lot in terms of the superstructure as well as the land, and how the water actually flows from the topmost, you know, your structure at the top right till the percolation pits which are there in terms of the gardens or the lawns. And at the same time, it's not only about harvesting water, but at the same time, it's also coupling it up with the whole program of social interactive spaces and things like that. So, how architecture or the built form itself has this different kinds of roles to play. So it just makes your architecture much more functional, and then it's no more looked at systems which are separate, that come together, but it's more integral within the architectural form itself.
Yes, yeah, it's also an experiential aspect, and kind of people can, you know, spend time here, and there is a whole interaction with the whole
Yeah.
outside space that they have created.
It's something similar to what Mandu is, you know, it's
Hmm.
about celebration of water. So it's not only respecting the resource or water as a resource, but at the same time, it also celebrates the whole joyous or the, retreat or a recreational, attributes the water can offer to mankind. Okay.
Any questions or remarks here, or should we move ahead to the next one?
Swati, your voice is coming very low now.
Is it better now?
Yes.
I'm just going to hold
Any
it up.
questions, guys? No. I think continue.
So this was an interesting idea. Actually, it's not essentially a project, but this is more to do with experimentation that one of these studios had come up with, and that's why we thought it would be interesting to kind of introduce it. Basically, this is a system of roofs that they have created, and essentially this entire system was kept in mind, done with keeping in mind this very extreme climate that Iran has. Again, a very arid situation, where the precipitation also is kind of very low. So your humidity is also very low. It's a very dry climate, and what they are trying to do is through these concave kind of bowls that they have introduced. They are trying to keep the temperatures of the rooms underneath much lower, but also they've kind of created this entire narrative with water, in a way that it becomes, functional, as well as, yes, it will have a whole experiential aspect to it also, because it's kind of allowing for this very large kind of element that's coming into play within the structure itself. So it's essentially a double roof system where you have this kind of a concave bowl which is happening at the top, and then you have the second roof which is happening at the bottom. And we look at how the whole thing comes together, and it becomes an experiential kind of project. So yeah, these are some of the views. So you can look at the scale of what this bowl is. It's not that it's like a small kind of thing that's sitting on your roof. It's as large as this expanse of your uh, roof to create that kind of bold stroke, as well as to kind of harvest as much water as might fall on it. Basically, it's with that intent of trying to maximize the holding possibility. The other thing is that also because the rainwater that they receive is very low. The other thing, the point is that once the incident rainfall is always supposed to be the clean kind of water. So as soon as it kind of hits this bowl, they want to kind of take it into another tank, which will then kind of hold it, and it's a cleaner kind of water that you're tapping into immediately. It's not that it's going and getting contaminated on other surfaces, but this is allowing you to run to the reservoir or the other tank that they want to hold it in. So again, if you observe carefully, there is this kind of a dent that they have created, like a convex kind of a roof at the bottom, on which your concave surface is actually sitting. So these are like these terracotta bowls which are sitting on top of your second skin. So, keeping these ideas in mind, they've actually kind of tried to put it into their proposal, which is a school. So they've kind of placed their classrooms all along, and they've taken pathways and intercepted the entire kind of mass with these pathways, and the pathways become centrally located again to create that kind of indoor-outdoor possibility, as well as you kind of created a shaded system for the corridors within. And then what you do is that above your volumes, you have kind of made a domed roof or a convex roof on which the concave boards are going to come and sit. So now the concave bowls are going to come and sit on top of this roof. So essentially, what you're getting in the section is this kind of bowl that's happening here, and the other way around is happening at the bottom. So if there's any rainfall that's falling here, it's basically kind of sloping towards the edges, and that water can be held as well. And what has been done is that all your access points have then been sunken. The entire volumetric possibility that has been created has been kind of created in a sunken courtyard, so that the internal areas can be kept cool at the same time, because then you're kind of working with the thermal mass of the ground as well. So your buildings can remain cool because of that, as well as your thoroughfares are also kind of in a shaded kind of portion. So these are your access points from where you kind of get in. This is just aesthetically also included more kind of concave roofs, also which will kind of hold more water. Of course, it needs to be connected back into the system in that case. This was also interesting because just look at how they've treated the windows. In some cases, they have kind of had more projections towards the outside, and in some cases, they've kind of inset it a lot more, so that the incident heat from the sun is not kind of very harsh. So there is enough kind of a space before the sun hits the room that is inside, and in that sense you are also able to kind of keep the inside a little cooler. And there is this kind of wind tower that is also placed, which is then connected to your entire water system that they have created. So if you look at what they've done here, basically there is this point at the bottom which is collecting the water. I mean, all your concave bowls are collecting the water and is kind of taking it to the lowest point. And that is then connected to the reservoir. What they've done is that the reservoir is actually located between two volumes. So in a sense that kind of then cools the entire larger block as well. So the water is then woven into the entire story of how you kind of built your architectural blocks as well. Um, um, So this is what we were talking about, this whole convex and concave kind of situation, where this kind of allows you to kind of take it down to the lowest point quickly. At that point, and at the intersection of these two roofs, is where the cooling of the air happens. So whatever your domed roof is, basically it's shaded because of the existence of this bowl that is sitting on top of it, which is in terracotta. And then the air that then passes through it is already cooling down. So the air that you get around your entire campus, in a sense, is also a little bit cooler, and it can settle down. And your roof, the second skin that you have at the lower level, is already also cooling down. So basically, you're not getting a very harsh hit from the top, and that's why your internal spaces are going to be much cooler because of the way that they've designed it. So that's how this project or the idea had come up with. We have come up with. So they're saying that about 923 square meters of the concave roof is expected to hold about 28 cubic meters of water. So one could calculate how much that is. Basically, then we could also know, what the height of these uh, bowls are in terms of how much water they are holding, with an efficiency of 60%. Actually, Kimaya, is it possible for you to elaborate a little bit more on this efficiency aspect of it and how that would work?
Sorry, I was in mute. You mean to say in terms of the efficiency, the runoff efficiency?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it is to do with also the form. Okay, because it's a like a deep saucer based form with with kind of a mm, collecting surface, and then because it's mud again, the covering form, the material, no, I mean the ability to absorb water. Okay, everything then comes into, and that's why the efficiency is about 60%. Because you also have to understand it's an arid climate, right? So the transfer evaporation rate is also going to be higher. So all those factors have then clubbed, and then that's why number has been come to 60% and not 80 or 90%. Yeah. Is there anything else, Swati, you want me to talk about?
I think
Or
from
this
my
was good
side,
enough?
yeah, yeah, from my side, that's it. Yeah, I mean, that was my question. It's
Yeah.
answered.
Mm.
Uh,
So
guys, do you have any questions on this one?
Shravan has raised his hand.
Yeah.
Sorry, my chat isn't working, it seems, because I can't read anything on my PC and nothing I sent seems to be read. And anyway, um, what I was asking is that I understand the concave roof helps collect the rainwater better, and also it's necessary for the evaporation. But how exactly does it prevent the How exactly is it better at collecting the water before it evaporates compared to like a regular gutter system that leads through a tank?
See, these, Shravan, you have to understand these are all elements of collecting water. So, whenever those trenches or the tanks that you're talking about is just collecting the entire surface runoff. So, it is also collecting all the dirt as the surface has been washing against the your ground planes and things like that. So it'll have your car detergent washes and things like that as well, animal poop and all. The ones which are there at the terrace level are much more in sense of quality, it's much more higher. So what happens is that you can actually uh, cleanse this water in such a way that it becomes potable. So a lot of rainwater, which is a natural form of water, is also being run under treatment and used as potable water system. But the one that runs your surface runoffs, which are not on the terraces and which has higher level of contamination, they needs to be treated and after that they could be used for your flushing or other ancillary activities. And now, especially in the arid climate where you know that the water as a resource is very less, so you need to really captivate on whatever you have. So how do you do it? So that's why these are these terrace features which has these huge bowls as collectors.
So it's more about keeping the water clean than it is
Yes.
about collecting water efficiently.
Yeah, because lesser the contamination, lesser is the processing to make it more potable. Yeah, because when you're undergoing certain processes also you're consuming energy, no? Even if you're not running them on mechanical connects, still there is a certain form of energy that has been lost over the period of time.
Right,
So then
right.
how do you make it much more sustainable is something that you need to look at.
Okay, and with regards to that, is it also kind of a thing that sorry, but is there also a reason to pick the size? Because
Hmm.
I think that because instead of using a lot of these, why didn't they use like slightly larger ones and use less of them? Because that would have saved material, right?
I think some of that also comes with the intent of how they placed the water tanks between all the blocks. So basically, if you divided these into two kind of blocks, then the reservoir is sitting right in the middle, and that then kind of channels from both sides into that central reservoir. So it's kind of allowing for the cooling of both sides to happen as well, and that's when you kind of need uh, two of them. I mean, I don't know. I think aesthetically also, if you just had a very large one, it would just look out of scale, no?
Okay, thank you.
I don't know, Kimar, does that sound right? Or
Yep. Yes, yes.
so we have 5 minutes.
Any ideas, questions anyone has? Because if we start the calculation, the problem is that we'll have to finish it in one go. Rati? Yes, Rati, please.
Hi. So about the overflow pipe for the tank.
Huh?
Uh, so if there is a septic tank or an STP on site,
Hmm.
then do you have to provide an overflow pipe for that as well? And if you
STP
have
and a
to STP and a septic tank, like basically for the solid waste, any sort of
yeah.
collection.
So the septic tank won't have overflow pipe, but it will have a vent pipe for the aeration part of it,
Yeah.
so that you introduce the oxygen. But you'll always have a clear board within the tank. Now that will not require overflow because you always design for the highest of the capacity, and it's a constant ongoing process. So it will never be like it's no more a storage process. Understand that it is a continuously functional process.
Okay.
Yeah. So then
Even
you
for
won't
the
require overflow pipe because that which means that all the contamination you are allowing it to get exposed to the outer world,
okay.
which is not advisable, right? Because of the kind of pollutant it has. It will have a negative impact on the health of the human being, no? Even for the matter animals around and things like that.
Right.
So
Um, but even when in an STP, you have to treat the water for reuse.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like a 7-day process, right? So how do you
Yes.
make sure it doesn't, as in there's not an overload of the waste? Like I was thinking, what
So
if
you
you take
that's why
an
you
overflow?
calculate. That's why
Huh,
you
yeah.
calculate and you always design for the worst case scenario. You'll always add up more. So you'll always design 1.5 times the tank,
Okay.
which takes care of the maximum capacity plus 50% is extra, which acts like a
Okay.
mitigation point, so that in case there is an excess usage and it goes beyond the stipulated time number of flushes, then what will happen? So that 50% will take care of that.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Welcome, Fleur.
Yeah, how far does a recharge well have to be from the building foundations for it to be safe?
It should be as close as possible, but it also depends on your design and the site, how you're locating your buildings. Closer will have minimal loss of water and energy, and you'll also reduce the pipelines. So the maintenance and operations also becomes easier. So it's
But the
advisable
sorry.
it should be closer. But if it's not possible, you can put it. But then again, depending on the topography and everything, you'll have to introduce pumping system and things like that, just to
So
ensure that there is a flow of water. Huh.
it won't have any effect on the building foundations if it's too close.
So there are newer systems which actually have embedded water tanks within the foundation system itself, so that it doesn't hamper the foundations. But there are inbuilt tanks which are there that you build below the
Okay.
plinth.
Okay.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
have done a masonry, sorry, RCC structure with a tank below, but that tank is my deck area. So my deck area, I had converted into a tank.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. What will be the details of retention ponds, trench beds connected to the W? Okay, retention pond is nothing but it's more like a pond kind of a system. So it's going to be like a shallow pond with inclined walls on the either sides. Maybe we can add few of the diagramming. So next time when we talk about phytoremediation and all, you could look at the whole section of the oxidation pond. That can itself be a part, like you can replicate it for retention pond. The only thing with the retention pond is it's more to do with collecting of water, and it will have a geotextile membrane so that it keeps the water intact. It doesn't, so the water doesn't completely drip out of the system. It trickles down the system. Okay. Who has raised the hand? Okay, the layers which are there, Vaishnavi, you can then add gradation of gravel, and you will have pebbles and sand as well. You can put, which is there. Shravan, you raised your hand. Bolo.
Yeah, I was asking about taking your pipeline through the walls, like these.
Hmm.
So I was watching the Rohan Chavan talk, and he said that because he had his pipes going through without ledge walls, but there were panels involved, the walls of his bathroom wall, two panels, and he had the
Hmm.
pipe sandwiched between the panels. So how would
Yeah.
that work without ledge walls?
That is fine. See, what he has done is he has taken care of. So the system has been implemented using a grid, support system of a grid, and then you cover it up with panels so that you don't see it, it's still concealed. And then whenever you're designing a panel, you give a kind of an access panel which is there. That access panel is nothing but you can unscrew it and then you can access the joineries of the pipes and things like that. So
Acha.
it could be easily done. It's not that it's not done. Another thing, guys, I just we were just I was in college, so we were just discussing about the idea. So some of you talked about water pipes going through floors, right? So you need to understand when a faculty says that you put a mount or floor mount fixtures, those are nothing but the drainage systems. What happens in the water supply is everything works on the gravity. So that's why you always have an overhead tank. So the pumping happens once from your underground, it goes to your OHT. From the OHT, whatever comes down is only using gravity. So it's always advisable to have it right from the lintel level down so that you get the correct pressure and things like that. It's only the hydropneumatic system that the water gets pumped, but it's always better not to crisscross the water lines and the drainage lines. Any leakage, any kind of thing within them, the contamination, the chances of contamination is very high. So you need to take care of those.
Okay,
Fair
Maya.
enough?
Yeah,
Yes?
if I speaking of the OHT, if I have a
Hmm.
ground, if I have a structure where all my water fixtures are entirely at the ground level, then
Hmm.
can I do something where instead of having a UHT or an OGT, I can have like you know how a water tower works, where like the tower is raised
You
high
can,
enough
yes,
that the
you can
so
do
I
that,
can just
or you
raise
can
my
rely
tank.
on a, yes, or you can rely on a what you say, um, loft tank, or a
A what?
hydropneumatic system. Loft
Yeah,
tank, the syntax
loft
tanks that
tank.
you see at the loft. Yeah.
Actually, so I just raise my tank a slight bit, which is enough for it
Yep.
to.
Yeah.
Okay. And how high would it have to be in that case if I'm supplying only a
No,
ground
you
level
just
structure?
you give a very clear room height. So you go clear height of 2.8 meters, and beyond that you can put your loft tank.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions, guys? We have already touched 222. Okay. I think next class